Hello and welcome to FGC Philosophy. I'm your host, The Philosopher, and this is where we level up every day inside and outside the virtual arena. We do that by talking about topics, having conversations, and having guests on the show that I think are going to help us all level up. Today's episode is about getting your dream job, and I have my top 5 tips for what I think will help you move towards getting your dream job. But before we do that, I just want to share a few things that are going on with me before we get into the main topic. As most of you guys know, I have been practicing in Street Fighter and trying to create a new training regimen. The last couple of weeks have been a little bit slow. I had some success with Akuma the week before last, but last Thursday, I think just being too tired, not taking care of myself, which is one of the topics that I'll dig deeper into later on today. But I didn't do as well as I wanted to that second week. And I don't think it had to do much with my training or lack thereof, but more so just making sure to take care of my body. And so it's been a very interesting learning process because to dig a little bit into that, I've been keeping my training very simple and trying to just really ingrain the basics. Like I really want to understand the max range of all of his important normals. I want to be able to easily do hit confirms from whatever hit confirm he may have and properly do the right reaction without having to think about it at all. Like that needs to be something that is automatic before I feel I should move on to the next step in my training regimen. So as such, I have started to see some progress in this area where things are becoming more automatic. My combos and certain things are becoming more natural, but when an actual fight happens, sometimes it doesn't always seem that way. A lot of times my plan might go out the window and I have to remind myself, okay, look, I might lose, but here are the things I need to focus on. And I have to make sure that I don't focus so much on winning, more so than focusing on the fundamentals that I've been training. Because there's no point in practicing something that I'm not going to use in an actual fight. So it's important that I create those habits in an actual match. Now, of course, there will be some things that I'm going to have to build on in the future. It's been an interesting journey so far. Like it's really important for me to just build that muscle memory, to be able to think on a higher level. Basically, I want to automate my actions. So when an action happens, like I see someone jump in, naturally I respond with the proper anti-air for that situation. Again, not quite there yet, but it's making a lot more sense. It's starting to click and it's starting to feel a lot more achievable. Before I had been feeling like I was making some slow progress with Fong, but feeling like sometimes he didn't have as many choices to be able to make. And I still enjoy playing him. He's still very natural to play. He's still the person I lean to, but now it's nice to be able to play the game and not just play Fong Fighter 5. It feels like I actually have put some time to this game to the point to where I understand other characters decently enough to build a strategy around them. The characters I don't know well enough are usually the ones that I lose to. So characters like Laura, for some reason, I just can't wrap my head around that character. Even though I think that a lot of her moves are pretty easy to spot, I just react very oddly. So at this point, I don't think it's matchup knowledge. I think it's more of practicing some habits and getting those out of me. The other thing is, like I said before, I was very tired. I tend to burn the candle at both ends. I try to go to bed later, but also get up earlier and get more done. But my body is slowly catching up. I'm 32 years old now. I'm not necessarily old. I'm not past my prime, but I'm at the point to where now if I don't take care of my body, I will see the repercussions of the lack of actions. So it's been a learning experience for me to make sure that I'm taking care of my body, make sure that I am doing what I need to do for my body and my mind, eating healthy, exercising, going to bed at a good time so that I can actually function properly. When I get good sleep and take care of myself and exercise, I feel so much better. My performance in Street Fighter definitely shows. And when I don't do those things on Thursdays when I go to my locals, it's just like, why am I even bothering to throw my money into the pot and play, because I'm not playing at my best. Like we did a round robin and I lost like 3 out of the 4 matches, and I know that I could have won it. And one was against Lucia and one was against Honda, so like I was also trying to figure some stuff out, but I still felt like I could have won those matches if I was more in the moment paying attention rather than just letting my mind wander and making dumb mistakes and things of that nature. So it was kind of bittersweet. I was a little bit salty after that, but I had to ultimately just be okay with it and just realize that, hey, you didn't take care of yourself, and this was the repercussions of that now. I think the saltiest thing for me was we streamed the matches. Obviously, I'm the person that's running the stream. So when my matches come along, I guess the stream got cut and nobody noticed. And so I can't look at any of my matches because none of them saved, and I'm a little bit salty about that. Little bugged, but it's still okay. Anywho, other than that, the big thing for me is I'm preparing for this Smash Brothers tournament that we're doing for Western Michigan University. I'm super excited about that one. This is gonna be our second Smash Brothers tournament, and we're hoping to make it bigger and better than last time. Been doing a lot of research. We actually just bought like 7 more switches. I learned how to do a lot of different things. So I'm actually gonna make a tutorial on this channel because I couldn't find anything. The only person that could help me out was Amiibo King over in Detroit. Basically, there is a way to unlock all the characters on multiple switches without having to go through the grind. Now, if you want to go through the grind, that's fine. But for me, I have a lot of things on my plate, and I did not want to sit there. I couldn't justify playing tons and tons of hours of Smash Brothers just to unlock the characters for the tournament. I would have if I had to, or found some other people to do that for me, but I just felt like there was a faster way, which there was. And it still requires you to buy the DLC. So Nintendo's making their money. But it's just for people who are hosting tournaments specifically, this is a way to work around us. So stay tuned for that. I will put that out there. I still have to edit it, but I got other things I got to work on first. Before we get into the main topic, the last thing I want to mention, of course, is Audible. You've heard me talk about books a lot. I'm going to continue to talk about books. I listen to a lot of them. Right now, I'm listening to a couple of parent books like Left Brain, Right Brain, while also listening to things like The One Thing by Gary Keller, which talks more about prioritization and being more efficient in your day. I'm really big on personal development and also parenting now. Obviously, psychology, that kind of stuff is really fascinating and important to me to be a better person, to be a better leader, and to be a better father and a spouse. So if you like books, but sometimes you don't have the time to, or you want to listen to something when you're working out other than just music. So if you go to taviannapier.com/audible, you actually get your first month free on top of 2 free books. One of the cool things I like about the subscription to Audible is they give you a free book token every month. So even if you're just paying the bare minimum of like, I don't remember how much it is now, so I don't want to quote it wrong. When I started, it was like $9 or so a month, and you would get a free book a month. And a lot of the books that I was interested in are like 15 or higher. So I get a free book every month, and I would at least spend that. And sometimes you can stockpile those and then buy the books that you want when they come out or whatever. So I find that very interesting. So if you are interested in Audible and trying that out, there's a no risk that you can use by just going to taviannapier.com/audible. Try it out. If you like it, great. That helps me out. If not, then you at least know that this isn't for you. So anyway, let's get into the main topic. So this is something I talked about a while ago on my YouTube channel. I think the video might still be up there. If I find it, I will put the link. If not, then it might be gone, or I just never published it, because I do that a lot. But we're talking about how to get your dream job. Now, I'm lucky enough to have a job that I greatly appreciate, and I get to express all of these interests that I am fascinated by: leadership, psychology, gaming in different areas, improvement, production, streaming, hosting tournaments, marketing. I get to learn about all these different things and have access. Like yesterday or the day before yesterday, I had a conversation with like the chair of philosophy at that school, and was able to hold like this really deep, in-depth conversation about philosophy, let alone know that he's a fellow nerd like myself and was very interested in moral ambiguity and ethics and stuff like this. And being able to talk to him about that was very, very fascinating. So I just have access to all these very brilliant minds and people, and I'm able to learn. And that's what I've wanted for a long time. And then also have the opportunity to educate people on the world of gaming. Like I can't really express how awesome of a job this is. Like there's still things that I want to do and goals that I want to achieve, but I've been able to achieve a lot of those goals through this, and especially my financial goals. So I've hit my financial goal for the year, and now I have to remake a new one because I hit it, and that's awesome. It's amazing. And I don't say this to brag. I just say this because I don't consider myself to be anybody special, other than the fact that I decided what I wanted to do, and I decided that I'm going to do it no matter what. And there are the 5 tips. I might have some more impromptu ones as I go, but I want to share these with you because it's really important to at least believe that you can do it. And this should be like tip number 6, but this is something that I think has to be at least mentioned before we get into these. So if you have a goal, something that you want to achieve, it's important that you believe that it is possible. This isn't going to be in the top 5, but it's something that I think is important. Like, none of these really matter unless you at least have some sort of confidence that it is possible. So you have to change your train of thinking. A lot of people convince themselves that it's not possible. I've worked with tons of people. I've worked at jobs where I have thousands, literal thousands of coworkers, and I talk to hundreds of them. And a lot of them just have given up on their dreams or they don't think it's possible. And that's really unfortunate to me because a lot of times those goals are possible. If you look at a lot of the great quote unquote geniuses of the world, the things that they did seemed impossible to everybody else, but they did not care. It might have even seemed impossible to them, but they still were willed to do it. They were still compelled to make it happen no matter what. If you are one of those people that has a goal, you want to achieve that goal, but you don't think that you can, work on your confidence as well. Because it's really important to understand that confidence can lead to motivation, and that leads to your work ethic. If you don't think something is possible, you're probably not going to work as hard as you feel you're going to. And sometimes you might find that self-sabotage starts to pop its ugly head up. Because you don't believe you can do something, you're going to find ways to sabotage it. Your mind does that. We're really good at being self-fulfilling prophecies. So just make sure as I go over these that you think about how confident you are, how possible it is for you, and kind of gauge that as we go on. So the first topic, though, is going to be develop skills. And this is a very broad one for a reason. Sometimes we don't know what we want to do yet. I didn't know what I wanted to do until I was like 25, 26, and then I still required more training after that. But in the meantime, I was always working on something. I was always trying to improve myself. Now, this didn't start for me until about like 22, 24, so that wasn't that big of time. But I started working on programming, I started working out, I started getting better at fighting games, like intentionally trying to get better, not just wasting time, taking notes, figuring out what I'm doing wrong, watching videos or tutorials or reading articles, whatever I had to do to improve. There were just things that were interesting to me. So if you don't know what you want to do, just learn skills that you enjoy personally, or maybe things that you think are going to be useful or lucrative that you can tolerate doing to the point to where you can become skilled in it, an intermediate to master at that craft. Because it doesn't really matter what you want to do yet. It's just a matter of building up skills that you think is important until you get to the point to where you know what you want to do and you're 100% convinced that this is something that you want to do. I would personally recommend not focusing too much on the money aspect of things. If you're a money motivated person, then that's great. But if you're not someone who's money motivated where it actually makes you feel worse, then find something that makes you feel excited when you work on it and just do it consistently, which is the next point. Stay determined, stay consistent. It's important that not only do you decide what you want to do when you decide to improve your skills, it's important that once you do, you find a way to be consistent with it, whether it be 1 day a week, 5 days a week, 7 days a week, it doesn't matter. You just want to be consistent because you're not going to develop skills, you're not going to reach your goals if you're not consistently doing those things. So make sure that above all else, if there's a goal that you have, you're consistent with it. Find the frequency that you want to do it at and just keep doing it over and over and over again and keep upping the ante as you go. Think of it as an RPG. Keep challenging yourself once you feel you've gotten comfortable, but make sure you're not jumping the gun and just trying to learn fancy stuff because that's what's interesting to you. It's a hard balance if you don't have an instructor. If you can get an instructor, whatever it is you're trying to learn, I recommend it. If you can't, do your research and make sure when you're on your own, you stay consistent. And then on the opposite end of consistency, it's also important to try new things. If you do fall into the camp of not knowing what you want to do, it's important that you try some new things to see if this is something that you would like to do. I tried multiple different jobs and interests and research before I really identified what I want to do. And I'm still learning and still growing and starting to say no to certain things that I don't think are important to me and finding other people who may be strong in those if it is a necessary skill that I don't personally care to have or work on. So as you grow and improve, it is really important to expose yourself to new things because you'll know what you don't like, but more importantly, you'll know what you do like. You'll be able to identify and compare and contrast to your experiences in the past versus now. Maybe there's something in the past that you really, really liked that you didn't know that you liked. And trying this new thing helped you realize that or reconnected you with something that you forgot you even knew that you enjoyed doing. That happens a lot. It's more common than you might realize. And I think it's something you guys should consider as well. Another really important one is don't follow the money, follow your passion. Now, I come across a lot of people, and this is a super logical thing, and I get it because I did the same thing to some extent. We want to pursue careers that we think are lucrative. And sometimes we put our happiness in the back burner as a result. Now, if you can do something that makes you happy, like this truly you enjoy, and also you can profit off of it, then that's not the person that I'm talking to. I'm talking to the people who are doing things that they hate, but they think are far more lucrative than the career that they want to live in. But if you're unhappy with the career choice you're going down, even if you are making good money, is that really worth it? Now, that's a question that you have to answer on your own because this is a fairly subjective conversation. Everyone has different experiences. But from where I'm from, a lot of people took jobs that they hated because they had to survive, and I respected that. My parents did that. They had jobs that they didn't like, but they were providers. But they weren't always happy people. They weren't always excited for life. When they went to their jobs and they got home, they were burnt out, understandably. We've all been there. I've had tons of jobs that I hated. And that helped me realize that I didn't want to be one of those people. I didn't want to be a person where I got home from work, I was tired and frustrated and didn't want to think about anything and didn't want to interact with my family or talk to my son. I want to be alive when I come home. I want to be excited and talk to my son and talk to my family about work and about the rest of my week or whatever it is. So for me personally, I have to follow my passion. I can't follow the money because I think that money is going to be a byproduct of me putting that consistency behind my passion, putting those skills behind my passion, and finding a way to make money doing what I love. And I have done that. And I think that other people in the past and currently are doing that right now. And there's no reason that you can't do that as well. So keep that in mind. Don't so much follow the money, follow your passion. The money will come if you follow your passion and you stay consistent and you keep developing skills. And the final thing that I'll mention talks about skills again. This one is more specific. So once you've decided or identified what you want to do, now it's time to develop the needed skills that you don't currently have. So say you want to do something in gaming. You want to run a tournament. You know that you went to your first tournament and you're like, you know what? I want to run tournaments. I'm convinced this is what I want to do. Well, now you have to build specific skills around that. So you either have to build the skills that you don't have in order to do that, like running a bracket. Okay, well now you need to learn how to run a bracket. Networking. You can't do a tournament on your own unless you want it to be small scale. If you want it to be a big scale tournament, you have to learn how to talk to other people or know someone who can. Getting a venue, getting sponsors, getting players, getting commentators, getting volunteers to help you with the tournament. That requires you to interact with other people. So if you're a non-sociable person, you either need to learn how to be sociable, read some books, watch some YouTube videos, or find someone who is charismatic and can network and get the other people that you will need or get the other things that you need. There are supplemental skills that you're going to have. Things like marketing. You have to learn marketing. There's tons of resources for free or paid that you can have. Learning who to trust with business decisions. There's a lot of skills that you have to learn if you're trying to run a tournament, if you're trying to run an event, not just a tournament. Because if you think about things like Combo Breaker and Evo and Final Round, CEO, those aren't tournaments, they're events. There's a lot more stuff going on than just tournaments there. As such, that means that other skills have to be present in order to make that happen. So once you know what you want to do, find the skills needed to do so. Developing skills at this point should already be a habit for you. So if you do the first thing that I talked about, which is developing your skills in whatever area that you're interested in, you should by this time be able to identify the skills that you need rather quickly and start working on them without too much extra effort. If you're already in the mindset of learning how to develop skills and doing it and being consistent, all those other things that I mentioned should make this step very easy for you. It's not really a step. It's not like a 5-step process. These are just all the things that I think are important. And I mentioned them in the order that I think is most relevant, at least to my experience. Everyone's experiences are different. Just as a recap, developing your skills in general, really important. Trying new things. Make sure that you're trying things that you like, that you find interesting, or that you've always wanted to try, and figure out if you do or don't like them. Stay determined, stay consistent. Don't give up on your goals. Again, that goes back to the confidence thing. You have to keep trying no matter what your mind or other people are telling you. If you want something, you just have to keep working on it because it takes time to grow. Next thing is don't follow the money, follow your passion. It's important that you find out what you like, what makes you happy, what brings you passion, and work on that. And then the money's going to come, not the other way around. It is possible, but it's not always going to be as fulfilling. It takes a certain kind of person to go that route. So if you're not happy with where you are right now and you've been working jobs that you don't like, obviously following the money isn't working for you. Time to follow your passion. I'm not saying quit your job today. I'm saying ease into it, find whatever works for you. You know, for me, I've always had a full-time job, but still made my YouTube videos and coaching on the side. I found ways to make it work, training in my fighting games. You know, make it work for you. Find out what kind of lifestyle you want and work towards that. And then the last thing, of course, is once you know what you want to do, build skills around that and focus on it until you get what you want. And then you just keep resetting your goals as you get better. So hopefully this makes sense to you guys. This is where the conversation piece comes in. I want you guys to either leave comments in the comment section or shoot a message to me on social media. I'm on Twitter, The Philosopher. If you want to talk to me personally, I also stream on Fridays, usually around 9 o'clock if everything's working out. Last week it was a little rough. I didn't get a chance to stream as much as I'd like. I had like multiple technical difficulties, but I finally fixed it around like 10 o'clock and stream for a little while. But I usually do match analysis. That's a good time to swing by and talk to me. I usually stream from like 9 to 11 and just I play some ranked Street Fighter, usually watch some of my tournament matches or watch some tournament matches from a weekend ago or something like that, Street Fighter League, whatever it is. So those are good times to hang out and chat with me. I love having conversations. I want to know if this is helpful for you guys. If you agree, if you disagree, let me know. That said, my name is The Philosopher. Thank you guys so much. And as always, I will see you all in the next one.